Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla Season 5. This is episode 5 of said series. How are you guys doing? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we are here at the site of something new that I've built on a live stream early last week. In fact, it was on Sunday we built this. This right here is the sugarcane farm for the season. This is what we're going to be building, and those of you guys who have watched the end or close to the end of my season 4 of Decidedly Vanilla, you guys will recognize this design. This is a pretty straightforward thing that we actually built at the temple on season 4. So it's a fairly straightforward farm. You guys will probably have seen observer-based sugarcane farms before, but if you haven't, I'll explain it briefly. Sugarcane grows to 3 blocks high naturally. As soon as it reaches this 3rd block, it is detected by the observer, which puts out a single redstone pulse to a line of redstone that is behind it, but is actually kind of disguised behind here. You can kind of see it there. There's the open section there, and it will run along this entire line of redstone, pushing out all of the pistons in a single row. So anything that is at like the 2nd block height here will get pushed off, and it will land on the sand below, where it's being picked up by hopper minecarts, which, as you guys may know, can pick up items that are resting on the blocks above them. So it's a completely lossless, modular, pretty tileable sugarcane farm. And my idea with this is that it's going to become the first proper build of this island, of the island of Enoki. It is going to be kind of a skyscraper style design. We're going to be tiering this upwards and upwards on top of each other. And I have had a couple of thoughts about how we're going to do that, and also potentially how we're going to make this whole thing a little bit less noisy, because right now the minecarts are on constantly. They're all being powered by these levers that are next to the minecart rail here, and that's where the hopper sits that transfers all of the sugarcane into these chests. Right now it's only been running for a very short amount of time since I've last tidied it up, so obviously we're not getting a huge amount of sugarcane in there right now. Do not worry, we will be getting a fair amount of this, especially as we expand the design upwards. But the thing is, with the minecarts running the whole time, it's not going to be something I really want to visit. So what I was thinking we could maybe do is take a piece of redstone wire and run it down to that, so that when the observers all pulse and they pulse these pistons, it will also set the minecart off to collect the sugarcane. I need to check quite how well that works. We might need to put it on some sort of delay so that all of the item entities will fall before the minecart has had a chance to run there and run back, so we don't actually get any loss from that. I'm going to do a couple of tests of it. I'm also not entirely sure how we're going to tile this design upwards and then still have the drops collected at an accessible place, because right now I'm having to go into each of these chests individually to grab the stuff. And it's entirely possible that we could have the items come down, deposit themselves on the tracks for one of these minecarts, and then the hopper minecart would just pick it up as it went. But the logistics of that are a little bit strange. It's not quite going to work out as neat as the ground floor design that we have here. So I'm working on a couple of ideas for that, but I'm very excited to have our first build here on the island of Enoki underway. And doesn't it look pretty? That's the thing I'm probably the most happy about with this whole build, is that it looks gorgeous. We've got this brilliant red concrete, and the red concrete is such a lush color, and especially it stands out against the green of the grass and the green of the sugarcane as well. It also has these. These are, believe it or not, birch. These are stripped birch logs, and they are one of my new favorite blocks, especially in tandem with these. The stripped birch is absolutely fantastic in this. It's a brilliant color. It looks great in floors, great in these kind of supporting pillars. The log texture kind of makes it almost look like a chiseled variant, like a chiseled stone kind of variant style thing. It would go really well with sandstone or endstone or any of those kind of pale blocks. It would look fantastic next to some green stuff or some prismarine. It's just going to be such a versatile block to work with. I think it would be a brilliant, brilliant building block. So we're going to actually acquire ourselves a whole bunch of birch in this series of DV. I was not expecting to love birch this much going into this season, but this has converted me. I can't believe it. As long as it's not the regular black and white birch logs, and I still think birch planks look a little bit weird, but these, they've got such a nice texture. It's just really good. Was not expecting to be waxing lyrical about birch, but here we are, folks. Here we are, also in diamond armor now. I've managed to get together a decent set of diamond armor. We could still use a little bit of feather falling, maybe depth strider 3, protection 4 on these boots. Obviously, I want mending on everything in the long run. I've only got Aqua Affinity and not Respiration on this helmet, and I do need a Diamond one at some point once I've been able to enchant this. But hey, We are making progress here, people. It's real nice. And yeah, I can't wait to do a little bit more on this stuff. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to draft a couple more designs for this, see quite how we can incorporate a sugarcane farm that stacks upwards into this whole structure, but then we're going to decorate this thing like a skyscraper. We're going to give it the treatment it needs, and it's going to be our first proper build here on Enoki Island. I hope you guys enjoy that. I will be back with you in just a few moments. So I have been doing a little bit of resource gathering. As you can see, we've got a fair amount of red concrete and stripped birch logs now. I've also been doing a bit of tinkering with this in creative mode, and I've already made a couple of changes which I think are going to be great for expanding this thing. And I've made a pretty important decision about how we're going to do the top part. So the top part is not going to be lossless, and I kind of wish I could do it the other way, but I was tinkering with the redstone in creative, and while it is definitely possible to have a lossless farm built stacked up on top of this, it's just not going to look as pretty. And I really like the way this came together. It's so cool. It's like a compact design, and I really like the materials and stuff, and I didn't really want to change that and add like a bunch of stuff on the outside. I just wanted it to be a kind of compact modular thing that I could expand upwards. So what we're going to do instead is actually have the top parts be similar to this, but have the water stream in front here, and remove the glass, or have the glass kind of like in the middle, basically, so that each side pushes the sugarcane on the second row towards the water stream. Sometimes it will end up on the sand and will despawn, but most of it should end up going in the water streams and come down to a central point where it's going to drop into a water stream here. And if I throw a couple of potatoes in to show you guys, water now moves items super fast because they float on top of the surface instead of dragging along the bottom. So if we come around here to this chest down here, you should find that, wow, they've actually overshot. They've actually come off the top of there and ended up, like, two of them ended up in the chest, but one of them ended up on top of the chest. So maybe we need to add in a couple of other hoppers to catch the items, or perhaps back this up slightly. I don't know, but that is an outcome I was not expecting. When I tested this in creative, they didn't move quite that fast. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to, we'll put in a block somewhere that's going to just deposit the stuff in a hopper. Like, maybe if I put a block, like, there, and maybe make that like a stair block or something so I can still open the chest, it would stop the items there, so they definitely go into the hopper guaranteed. That's probably the better way to do this. But I'm still experimenting with this stuff. The other thing I've done is actually make the thing sort of a little quieter, I guess, by making sure that the minecarts only move right after the observers activate. And the way I've done this is actually a slightly longer and more complicated way than it would be at the front. But again, I want this to be a really neat, compact kind of build. So what I've done is take a redstone signal off of where the observers fire all of the pistons. We've just taken it one block out that way and used a redstone repeater to take a signal from this block, which gets powered when that redstone dust activates. Run it all the way along here with a repeater on this corner, activates that redstone dust, puts that into a repeater next to this block, and that block there will actually power the rail that the minecart has to move on. So it doesn't have to remain powered all the time. Instead, it runs one way that way, the powered rail on the other side sends it back down here, and it just resets. So anytime the system triggers, the minecart should run along there and then come back once. It should collect all of the sugarcane, and it means it doesn't have to be running constantly, which probably makes things a little bit less laggy with all of the entity movement the game has to track as well. It's a minor optimization, but I think it's probably for the best, and it was quite fun to work out in terms of the redstone stuff. I'm actually having a lot of fun working with redstone and kind of tinkering with these things, doing some problem solving, and deciding, in the case of the stacking system here, when to cut my losses and when to just stick with design and go with form over function. But one of the things I want to do for the overall build of this is eat potatoes a little bit faster than that, please. There's a lot of people online right now, so I think we're probably getting a little bit of lag from the other server members. But also, I want to grab myself some dark prismarine for this build, because I think dark prismarine would go absolutely beautifully with the block palette we've got going on right now. It's going to be a very kind of contrasty thing, but they're all such nice looking blocks. I think it's going to go together really well, and I've drafted some stuff in creative that looks great. Only problem is Awuga is AFK right now at his own kind of half-finished Guardian farm, and I don't really want to disturb him. I don't want to step in there and steal the stuff he's got going on. Instead, I'm probably going to investigate one of the ocean monuments that I found in the area surrounding here. And obviously, I don't want to tread on Wee Beastie's toes. Sorry, I just have to reload that. For some reason, that iceberg there never wants to load in. Like, there's a chunk there that just, for whatever reason, like, doesn't show up every time I log in. I always have to reload in order to not see this giant world hole in the middle of the icebergs. But no, anyway, we want to avoid treading on Wee Beastie's toes if he had designs for the ocean monument that's out here in the ice field. So maybe we'll go a little bit further away and find an ocean monument that we can raid. I've got a few potions here of water breathing and night vision, so those are going to be useful. But the other thing we could do is this. I have managed to get myself enough materials to build my first ever conduit. And we're going to do that right here, right now. Check this thing out. Oh, yes. So good. And obviously I have a bit of prismarine that Awuga gave to me before, but I don't want to set it up here at my base. I want to put this in an ocean monument, giving me permanent access to water breathing so I can just go around the entire thing unimpeded and fight the Guardians without having to worry about drinking potions and stuff. I'm going to take potions with me just in case, for whatever reason, the water breathing thing doesn't work, because the conduit has to be surrounded by a certain configuration of prismarine blocks, and I don't know if just popping it down in a monument is going to be the best way of doing that. I don't know exactly what room I would put it in to get the best configuration of prismarine blocks, but you never know. It could work. And the the other thing to bear in mind is that I'll have mining fatigue while I'm there, so I won't be able to remove the mining fatigue effect very easily unless I bring in a bucket of milk, and that would just be a ton of extra stuff to carry in my inventory. So if I needed to replace some of the blocks or mine the conduit back up, I might not be able to. So we're going to throw some stuff in here. I'm just going to chuck stuff in the nearest available chest for the moment. I've also been gathering phantom membrane, so I have plans for slow falling potions, which we will get to in another episode. And we're going to take the conduit with us. We're going to hopefully have enough armor and protection and stuff that we're going to survive a time in the ocean monument. We're going to go grab ourselves some dark prismarine. Let's do this. Well, my friends, I decided against going and finding that ocean monument in the icebergs because I wanted to check with Beastie that it was okay to raid. He's given me the thumbs up, but in the meantime, I have found this. And this is almost as exciting to me as going to an ocean monument and grabbing all of that dark prismarine, because there is a coral reef right here. It's actually a pretty small one compared to some of the others I've seen out there in the ocean. This place is tiny, but look at it. Look at it right next to this jungle. We are at minus 2,000, minus 3,800, and this right here is going to be kind of great. I think I might actually take a water-breathing potion just for this, just so I don't have to be too worried about the amount of time I spend down here. I've got my Silk Touch pick. Let's grab ourselves some coral. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, so excited to use all of this, and I'm going to be grabbing the sea pickles. I figured out that you can farm sea pickles now. I looked up a little bit of info about sea pickles, and from what I understand, it is possible to farm them on top of coral blocks. You can bone meal them underwater, and they will spread. I don't have any bone meal on me to demonstrate that right now, but you can actually farm them as a source of light to go underwater. It's going to be really, really nice having these. So we're going to grab as much coral as we can here in the 8-minute timer that I have on this water-breathing potion. I will grab it all from the surface once it floats up, and then we'll try and resume the search for the ocean monument once I've been back to the island and deposited all this safely in a chest. BJ is apparently raiding a nether fortress right now. Good luck to him. Let's grab as much coral as we can. There it is, folks. There it is. And my instructions are to leave the sea lanterns if at all possible. There we go with the mining fatigue. To leave the sea lanterns and to look for sponges, but let Beastie borrow them if I end up using them myself, which I don't really plan to. I'm probably just going to kill the Elder Guardians that are in here, get the 3 sponges from that, and then take as much dark prismarine as I can carry. We have cleared out the inventory, so hopefully this should be plain sailing. Once I'm able to drink that, there we go. And I've also put my lively default water back on, as you may have noticed from elsewhere in the video, just because it makes things a little bit easier to see stuff from below the surface. But let's take a quick look around. Man, it is fun exploring these when you can swim. Hey, fellas, don't mind me, just coming through, looking for your leaders, wherever they happen to be. There's usually one in the large corridor around the outside of the monument, but finding that may be easier said than done. It's so cool that you can swim under all of the obstacles and stuff now, though. It makes you way more maneuverable in these places. All right, let's take a quick look up here. This room looks fairly empty. Ah, there we go. There's one. Hi, friend. Hello. How are you? I've come to wreck your day. A couple more hits, and it should go down. We hope. There we go. Sponge number 1. Let's see if there's an Elder Guardian hiding back here. When Awuga looked for his ocean monument, we looked through his ocean monument for his guardians, he ended up finding them in the weirdest places. There was like one that was just stuck somewhere, and he was using doors to empty everything out, of course, and it was a little bit tricky to find them all in the end. But it looks like this one, yeah, okay, cool. We'll come around to this room. There's this guy over here. He's in his usual spot. I do need to make sure I keep healing with the food. We're going to have some very watery potatoes, I guess. That's fine. It's got the thorns out, but we are ready for this. Nice, okay. Guardian number 2 down. And the last guy should be right at the top of the monument, so let's find a way up here. Yes. Oh, a sponge room. Fantastic. That is 1. I will let Beastie know there's at least 1 sponge room in this place. All I need to do is get rid of this mining fatigue, and then I will have myself all of the dark prismarine. I might even leave the gold in there if he wants the gold blocks. I have no real use for gold at present, so we may as well leave that for Beastie. Let's see. Ooh, okay, you can get around this bit. Here we go. Yes, found him. Fantastic stuff. Right at the top here. This is the last guy. We might even, hopefully, manage to get rid of him before the mining fatigue wears off, in which case we'll only have to worry about 1 round of mining fatigue. Yes, fantastic stuff. Brilliant. Now, yeah, we have a minute of mining fatigue left, so that's not super long, and we should be able to set up a conduit somewhere where there is a decent amount of prismarine around, but it's got to be 1 block apart from everything. So maybe if I put myself down let's put down one of the sponges. Let's do that here, and then put the conduit maybe there. Let's see if this does anything yet. It doesn't look like it right now. Maybe I need to remove the sponge, and that's not going to happen whilst I've still got mining fatigue. So I guess I just got to wait it out for now, and then maybe we'll pop some prismarine around the outside of this so the conduit activates, gives us water breathing permanently. Then I don't even have to worry about using the extra potions. There it goes. Oh, fantastic. So now we've got conduit power, which should hopefully refresh our water breathing in a certain radius. Obviously, it's not going to be a huge amount because we haven't constructed this in the optimal configuration, but it means we can grab ourselves all of the dark prismarine that we can have from this monument without too much worry about running out of water breathing. Brilliant stuff. Oh, this has worked so well. I'm very, very happy about that. And look at that thing go. These are so pretty. By the way, look at this thing. That is really neat looking. I might have to use these more just as decorative things because that right there is really cool. So the full haul from today's little session out there is 4 stacks and change of dark prismarine plus an extra 2 stacks and 32 sea lanterns that I traded with Awuga for a Heart of the Sea because I found 3 of those things. I don't have enough shells to make 3 conduits right now, and he's working on the Guardian farm, so I figured I would probably do a trade with him, and I feel like I actually got the better side of the deal there in terms of the dark prismarine and stuff, because dark prismarine is not very easy to craft because you need all of the ink and everything. I'm probably going to end up working on making an ink farm at some point, making a squid farm. But look at all of the stuff we got from the coral reefs as well. We got so many sea pickles, and I'm trying to look into a good way of farming those, but we might end up just doing it manually. And I think we're going to work a little bit more on this here contraption right now. We're going to end up doing probably a time lapse of sorts whilst we build up the rest of this. And I want to have a couple of extra layers on this. I probably should have given Awuga one of my slow falling potions while I was there. But no worries, folks. We're going to head into a time lapse, do a little bit more building, and I'll see you guys on the other side. And it looks like that's about all we're going to have time for today. Also because it's kind of difficult to get a decent amount of these materials. Like I'm having to make a ton more red concrete as I go. I still need to grab a little bit more stripped birch, and I'm running scarily low on dark prismarine. I still want to add a few different layers to this if I can, but I don't really want to change the materials at this point because I am in love with just this 3-block kind of pattern we've got going on here, and each layer seems to be different so far, so it's not so much like tiling the layers upwards as it is just kind of reinventing the structure as it goes up and up. But I want to add a couple more layers to the sugarcane farm just so we can get a decent yield. I'm probably going to go AFK overnight just to see exactly how much stuff this one can produce. But for now, that's going to be it for this episode. It's been a bit of an action-packed one. We've done a lot of stuff, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So leave a like on it if you did. Thanks for watching this episode. My name has been Pixlriffs. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Don't forget, I'm live streaming this pretty regularly, so you can head over to twitch.tv/Pixlriffs and drop a follow over there as well if you want to catch me live. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.